Hi, Jonathan. It's great to meet you. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me today. Before we jump in, I'd love to hear a bit about you. Can you tell me how you discovered Carnivore and how did it all start for you?
Yeah, thank you for having me. It is nice to meet you as well, Joseph. For me, I discovered Carnivore through the Joe Rogan podcast. I don't remember if it was Sean Baker first or Jordan Peterson, but I was pretty convinced that it is a good idea after watching Jordan Peterson, but I didn't fully commit for a whole 5 years. At the time, I looked into it and I determined this is obviously the best elimination diet. For my research, every doctor would agree. Even the ones who are anti the diet, they would say, yeah, as an elimination diet, eliminating the plant toxins and seeing if you have a gluten intolerance or a lectin problem or some kind of problem, short term, this can be good. And that was my goal for 5 years. I want to lose weight and find out what vegetables I am allergic to. But I'd only do the diet for a couple weeks. The first time, I ate a lot of meat, not necessarily fatty meat, but it was meat cooked in seed oils, and I lost weight. But then I went back to the typical sad diet. And then I went more serious about it while in China. That was about 2.5 years ago when I was living there. And I do the diet for maybe a week at a time, but I'd always go back to eating rice and spicy food because I love the flavor. And what really convinced me to do the diet was watching a YouTube video not related to the diet. One of my favorite YouTubers is Louis Rossman, and he talked about how his right to repair legislation that he helped pass in Colorado was able to get an MS patient a new wheelchair. And one person commented, oh, MS, that can be treated or possibly cured with the carnivore diet. Look at all these YouTube videos of people reporting this and all the case studies. And Louis Rothman commented, oh, it's just crap. Everyone says try the vegan diet or the carnivore diet or this or that diet. You don't know what's going to work. Don't spread propaganda. And when I read that, I remembered back to Jordan Peterson and him curing irreversible gum disease and other things. And I thought, wow, this is interesting. So I ended up being convinced by watching Dave Mack's videos of testimonials. And that's when I saw one of the videos. I cured my ADHD or I improved my ADHD. And with someone with ADHD who's been looking for some kind of solution for years, I was like, okay, I have to do this for real.
That's awesome. So what happened after that? So you were looking for a solution for your ADHD, right? For years. Yeah. What comes after that?
So I did a lot of research. I found all of the low carb and carnivore doctors, Ken Berry and Anthony Chafee, Kent Carnivore, all the influencers as well. And I really got convinced that this is the proper human diet. And it's interesting because you can ask ChatGPT or a doctor individual questions that would prove the carnivore diet is the optimal diet. But if you would ask, is the carnivore diet optimal? In whole, they would say no, because they're very brainwashed. So you can talk to a doctor or ChatGPT about plant defense chemicals and how meat is more bioavailable, um, about anthropology and the isotopes of our bones, how we are um, carnivores, as well as several other things. For example, how cancer feeds on glucose. We've known about it for 95 years, the Warburg effect. And you could literally list like 15 points that would indicate that it's our proper diet, but a doctor would still say, no, but it's not good for you. There's no long-term studies. We need fiber. You need vegetables. Just the propaganda of, when I was 5, my mom told me I need to eat my veggies, so it has to be true. That they don't quite understand. So there's that. And then after that, I started doing it, knowing about the diarrhea issue and the electrolyte issue, and also I have to eat fatty meat. And it's hard for people to understand because I've gotten 2 of my friends now. So I've gotten 1 extra person since I talked to Dave Mack to do the carnivore diet. And even the ones that are doing it, they don't really look into it too much. They're like, okay, sure, I'll do it. It sounds good. But they don't want to like continue the research because they're pretty young and healthy, right? Both of my friends are under 40. So it's not too big of an issue if I have to do this to stop acid reflux or stop diabetes or gout or something. So one of my friends, to save money and to gain more muscle, he decided to add a little bit of carbs in. The saving money does make sense, I think. The price of beef in France is around $15 a kilo. So that costs money. That's double the price than it is here in Indonesia. And my other friend is doing it mainly to lose weight. And he has mentioned, yeah, my lower back pain is gone. But he's focused on losing weight, so several times he's fasted for a long time and cut out salt because he's like, no, I have to lose weight, so I'm not going to use any salt because that's water weight, so I won't use salt. And I keep telling him that's very dangerous. If you're not eating carbs, your kidney doesn't hold on to as much salt, so you need to add the salt. But he doesn't really care. He just wants to see the quick weight loss. So I think people really need to do the research into the diet to do it correctly. Because if they don't do it correctly, if they, add seed oils like I did the first time, or don't add enough salt, or don't add enough fat, like my friend, he said, I can't be in a calorie surplus. And one, I think that's a slight myth, right? If you eat enough protein, you will gain muscle. But even then, you could buy the fat and eat the fat, and you have enough calories, and also it would cost a lot less money than buying premium cuts of steak.
Yeah, I fully agree with you on that one. To do the research, I think I had the same mistake as you did with the seed oils. The beginning of my journey, I was cooking with seed oils, but I'm still seeing progress. I'm not sure if you were seeing progress when you started.
I lost some weight. It was so I was feeling better.
That's awesome. What ADHD symptoms change, like did you experience the most? Was it like something like with the focus, or with the mood, or the energy?
Yeah, so I would say in that front it's a slight improvement, and I want to describe why I think it is and why some people do better on carnivore. But a lot of the externalities of stress help out. So I don't have to too much worry about, I didn't brush my teeth. Because if you do strict carnivore, that's not really a need. My oral health has gotten better, and I brush my teeth less often now. Because if you don't use sugar at all, it's not really too much of an issue, right? And so I used to have bleeding gums. I used to have pain while brushing my teeth, for example, if I'd forget. And now I can not only brush my teeth, but floss with minimal to zero gum bleeding. Also, cooking is a lot easier. That saves time. I do feel that sleep is a lot better. I can get less sleep and function better. And also, my focus is slightly improved. And if I'm doing really strict and doing other things besides carnivore, then my motivation will be increased. And that's why I want to talk about the disconnect for people who are trying to improve their mental health, but they don't quite see the gain other people have in carnivore about the other aspect. Because carnivore is only a tool, it's only a piece of the puzzle. So I was watching YouTube and I found out this guy talking about controlling your subconscious, and that's how you will be able to form habits and become happier, healthier, more motivated. And other thing he mentioned was the mental health table, and I think this is why a lot of people on carnivore talk about how they no longer procrastinate and how they're just really happy in life. And that often happens with people on carnivore who are already married, who already have a kind of set life that they're just kind of missing a few pieces. And as me, as someone who doesn't have everything quite in order as far as like life goals and things, it's different. So I would say typical married man, for example, who is say 45, he will already have some of the pillars of mental health, which from this table are human connection, nutrition, sleep, exercise, routine, and purpose. And so he might already have routine and human connection. He has a family, he goes to work every day, same time, but everything else is failing, right? Because he's too sick to want to work out, and because of his poor diet, he can't sleep well, obviously poor nutrition, and maybe a lack of purpose. And so when they do carnivore, all of a sudden they get perfect sleep, and they have all this extra energy, so they want to work out. And obviously nutrition, because they're getting all of their vitamins and minerals from fatty meat. The routine probably even improves because they have more time. And then they have a purpose to spread the word about carnivore, and they start telling their friends and family, and seeing their friends and family get healthier. They are happy because they not only have a purpose, but a purpose that actually helps people. And when they have the good nutrition and all the pain goes away, and they have all the extra time, and they have every pillar of mental health, that's when, I'm no longer unmotivated. Now I have no procrastination. And so I think that's for me. With my ADHD, I haven't been able to really lock in all of those 6 mental health issues, why I don't see quite as good results. And so also it takes time. Several interviews talk about it was a whole year before they stopped hearing voices if they had schizophrenia. So I think one has to be patient. Another aspect of mental health is subconscious. And so if you can improve your subconscious and have concurrence of who you want to be and what your subconscious thinks you are by mindfulness or habits, like the book Atomic Habits is great, or hypnosis and meditation. If you can do that, then I think everything will fit into place. So my advice to anyone for ADHD or mental health or improving in life in general is having all pillars of mental health, mastering your subconscious, and good nutrition, which would be a high-fat carnivore diet.
I think that's awesome. I mean, you're still, I guess this is kind of like in progress for you with the carnivore, right? You're still kind of like experimenting, like how it's gonna, maybe do you expect like to have like any flare-ups like sometimes in the along your journey? I mean, to me it's already impressive, like how intentional you are about like finding what, I guess, like what helps you focus better. I mean, if it's if you're more focused and you have less pain, I think that's a big win. You're paying attention to your body signal. I think that's something already, like I said, like it's a huge win. What's the hardest thing for you, like as a carnivore?
Yeah, so for me, the hardest thing as a carnivore is being patient, knowing it gets better with time. I've already seen improvements, right? And you kind of forget about things you had in the past. So I had plantar fasciitis that hurt to walk on my feet. I often had neck pain. um, lower back pain. All of a sudden, I couldn't put any pressure on the palm of my left hand. Um, bleeding gums, hemorrhoids, anal fissures, and all of that has gone away. And also my some red skin as well, inflammation has gone away and came back since I have cheated on the diet, and I've gotten better at cheating. So last time I decided to cheat after probably not cheating for a whole month was
Oh
I
wait,
had
Jonathan.
yes.
Did those like pain that you, I mean, those yeah, those pain you were experiencing, did they like gradually like pretty much like faded or like they went away when you started
The,
it?
the the skin problem took a while, and that slowly went away. For the other ones, I just kind of remember waking up and thinking, "Oh, I don't have that problem anymore," right? And so it wasn't a gradual thing. For skin, that was definitely a gradual thing.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty cool. How did you notice the changes? Was it like pretty much in a week? I
No,
guess I'm just. Mhm.
the first week I definitely noticed weight loss. That was great. So I was at my heaviest 65 kilos. I think I was 63 when I started, and now I'm down to 57 kilos. Um, so the weight loss I noticed um, immediately. I think acne got slightly better. I still have a little bit of acne problems, but I had a particular acne breakout that hadn't improved for 2 weeks, and it finally started to improve during the first week of carnivore. So just a slightly better acne and weight loss was in the first week. I think after maybe a month or so, I noticed some of the foot pain going away. I'm a little fuzzy, but yeah, I think within the first 3 months, a lot of things got better or went away, and it took a good, I think, 8 or 9 months for my skin issue to disappear and then come back after cheating on the diet, which is unfortunate. But that's one other thing I want to mention. You have to not beat yourself up about it, because that's when you want to go back. Oh, I already cheated. I might as well just say, oh, I did it. Whatever. It's okay. Tomorrow I'll do it again if I want to, and then continue doing it. So this last time I cheated more effectively. I had spicy food, but with a lot of butter. And because I had all that butter, I didn't really have a bathroom issue or the ring of fire going to the bathroom that day and the next day. And obviously, I went to the place as well, and I brought my own oil, which is great for Indonesia. I can literally go to restaurants or like street stalls and say, "Hey, cook with this oil," and they'll do it. And that's the thing you can't really do in America or probably most Western countries. And so, because I'm here, it gives me flexibility. Oh, I even went to a place and brought my own meat and my own oil and paid them to cook my own food. And I only had to pay them like 30 cents to cook my food. And so, yeah, it's an option that people can possibly do if you're in like, Vietnam or Thailand or Indonesia where there's less regulation, where you can say, hey, I eat this way. Can I have your food but with this oil? Or can you cook my own food? I'll pay you. So, yeah, that was wonderful.
That's awesome. I'm just curious, what was your favorite food before going carnivore?
So I would say favorite food goes depending on like country. And also like favorite flavor ice cream, because I haven't really been able to eat the same food in same foods at the same time. So I always name it by country. So for like Mexico, I like ice cream queso con tazamora, so like cheese with blackberry flavor. And I think I like las gringas, which is a kind of quesadilla with pulled pork, carnitas, and queso Oaxaca, tortilla, and also piña, ananas, pineapple. Forgot the word in English. And obviously with hot sauce and salt. For Indonesia, I would say it's rendang, so stewed meat, and obviously that would be with some rice and maybe some veggies and sambal, what they call it, with some salt. In China, I like a dish called la ji, which is like twice cooked fried chicken. So a lot of spicy food that I like. I also, North America, like baby back ribs, which is now my new favorite food. Without the sauce this time, but I had some ribs as well as a leg of lamb in China that they didn't add any seed oils to. They slow roasted it. They added some spices. And, oh my god, there's something so primal and so satisfying about picking up that leg of a lamb and eating the meat off the bone that feels right in a way that I don't think I ever really felt before.
That's very nice. Well, now that you're carnivore, I know you mentioned about like cheating, like maybe here and there in the past. So like you're eating meat. What is your favorite meat now? I mean, also maybe just to add more to that question, like is it very challenging to you now that you're just doing carnivore, just eating meat, or do you get like tempted to like cheat from time to time?
Yeah, so I do get tempted, but it's getting easier and easier with time. Um, like when I cheated maybe a month and a half ago or something with some ice cream. Oreo ice cream is my old favorite flavor here. Um, I now don't want to because the way the ice cream is made, you look at it and it's depending on the ice cream, it's the seed oil called minute abadi here is the first or second ingredient, and I'm thinking I'm just eating oil, like it's not even ice cream. I wouldn't mind cheating if there was like some and I don't even see it quite as cheating if I eat like a zero sugar or low sugar quality ice cream made with heavy cream and egg yolks. Um, but for me, cheating with seed oil ice cream, I don't feel the need to do anymore. It's just I see it as poison. Um, and so and even now if I cheat, like I said, with the it was actually ayam bakar, so kind of baked chicken, or it was kind of fire roasted chicken, and I had that without the vegetables, with rice, tons of butter, and the chicken. So my fat was high enough, and there weren't any seed oils. So I don't binge out on horrible food like I did the first time I cheated, which was on my birthday. The people took me out, so I thought, okay, I'll decide to cheat this time. And I have my favorite Chinese food, Chinese and Russian food, together, and it was tasted great. But then I felt the bloating, and I ended up eating too much chocolate the next day and having horrible pain from it. And I realized there's such a big difference between being full on carbs and being full on carnivore. So I definitely do feel tempted, sometimes, but it's getting easier to not feel tempted. Yeah.
That's awesome. Did you ever had like a moment of doubt, like during your journey, maybe in the beginning, about like carnivore not working? Because I mean, like in the beginning, just about all of the carnivore people saying, "Hey, like it's been ingrained that you might get a heart attack doing this in the future, or something might happen, a heart disease." Did you ever had a moment of doubt?
Not since I started. I only had the doubt for the first 5 years when I kept trying to do the diet, 3 days or a week at a time, because of all the doctors saying, "Oh, long term, who knows," and stuff, and me not hearing about possibly improving ADHD. Once I looked into the research, I really had no doubt. Maybe doubt it might not fix a certain problem that I have, but not that it's unhealthy or it wouldn't improve my health in general.
That's awesome. So what does a typical day or week eating for you look like? Do you keep it like consistent, or do you mix it up You mentioned a lot of food. So
Yeah, so definitely not consistent with my ADHD. I don't always like to stick to the same thing, either because it's boring or I just don't put the focus to do that. I want to. I'm thinking about doing a starting fast soon, and a lion diet as well. But to save money, I eat a lot of eggs. Here I eat omega eggs, high in omega 3, so slightly healthier than the regular eggs. What is also one of my favorite foods, just some soft scrambled eggs. Taste amazing to me. I was eating a lot of buffalo because it was the cheapest that I could get here. Only $6 a kilo, so around $3 a pound. Now I found an even cheaper store that sells meat, sometimes cheaper than that, so around like $5.50 a kilo, to maybe up to $7 a kilo. So like $2.50 to $3.50 a pound. And it's quality meat. It's always frozen, but I'm fine with that. If there's any possible parasites, freezing it is one way to make it healthier. And so, yeah, it's a lot of eggs and a lot of meat. Most common meal I would get in China was kind of like it wasn't here in Indonesia. It's actually called not short rib, but what is it? Short plate. Yeah, short plate. So it's a thin slice of meat and fat. It looks like bacon, but because I haven't cured it, it's not bacon. But I think if you did smoke it and cure it, it would be bacon, or at least look similar to it. And I like to eat that very often because it's the easiest thing. Stick it in the oven for like a minute to 3 minutes at the highest heat, and it becomes crispy. Or maybe just medium rare if you want to take it out sooner, and that's amazing. I add a lot of eggs to the cuts of meat that I bought that have less fat, so I can add my fat intake up. But I think in the future, now that I found a store where the short plate is only it's 140,000 rupiah, and it's 100,000 for $6. So that's I think under $4 a pound. And it's the perfect meat. I eat it every single day because it has enough fat. So I'm thinking of doing lion more towards that in the future. But I already bought a bunch of meat at the store. Actually, I asked them because my freezer was full, and they're storing it at the store for me. So I'll go back next month and get it from the store, which is great. And yeah, so I bought enough meat for I think over a month, and it only cost me like $140, and that's enough meat for over a month. So yeah, the grocery bill is very low here. Though I will admit, I think for some of my Indonesian friends, doing this diet is a little too expensive because they do mainly sustain themselves off rice and chicken, which yes is a lot less than meat. I encourage them to do more of the diet and eat a lot of eggs to make it cheaper. But yeah, it's hard to get people to do the diet, especially here, because it does cost more. I think in the West it would cost less because you're not eating any of the snacks anymore, and you're not eating out anymore, and they weren't really eating tons of chicken and rice to save money like they do here in Indonesia.
that's awesome. I mean, you were able to encourage, I think, some of your friends to do it.
Yeah.
I think that's already good. Yeah. How many eggs were you eating, like per day?
So I would typically have 4 or 5 eggs per meal. So often 8 to 10 eggs.
That's awesome. Yeah, I eat about the same amount. Especially in the morning, I eat a lot of eggs too, and then two at night. So,
Yeah.
if you had to describe the impact of carnivore in your life, what one word would you describe it, and why?
Clarifying things just make more sense. I growing up, I was never a big conspiracy theorist guy. My dad was, and I wish he was still around, and I wish I knew carnivore earlier because he passed away from cancer. So if I knew about carnivore a couple of years earlier, I could have possibly help him extend his life. Um, and so I already kind of knew that politics were corrupt since a young adult. Um, but with Carnivore, things make more sense. Um, Carnivore doesn't only describe why we're getting more unhealthy and have more health problems, but also mental health. In the West, which is way more plant based and processed food based, they have a lot more mental health. And I think there would be a lot less bipolarism, schizophrenia, even gender dysphoria, if people were sticking to an all meat diet. They don't really have these concepts really at all or as often in parts of Africa, for example. One, because of the politics, but two, because of the diet. They're just healthier. And so they don't have to, worry about things like depression. And I just, I wonder how society would run if we were all having a proper diet, right? Several women talk about how they have painless menstruation, no mood swing, no cramping. Just imagine all the boyfriends out there, husbands out there that could just benefit from having their wives that don't have any mood swings or pain during that time of month, as well as needless suffering from cancer and being obese. Like in the wild, they don't have old, sick, fat animals with arthritis. That's not a thing. And we should all be out there healthy and happy in general. And also a lot of mental issues like ADHD and autism, I think, are caused by poor nutrition on the mother's part and then poor nutrition of the baby when he's young. I really wonder, like, what if a baby would have been autistic, but since you raised him on carnivore since he was born, I wonder how autistic he would actually be, or if he'd even show any symptoms. Because I've seen interviews of parents talking about their autistic kids and or kids that are on the spectrum, how one kid went from nonverbal to verbal autistic, so a huge improvement, and one kid went from mental delay to the top of his class, to having a higher reading level than his peers. And so, and that's, after being, age 3 or age 8 or, older. Imagine if you started it from, 1 day old. How would their mental ability continue? So I really wonder how the world would be without all the propaganda and lies and poor nutrition. And I think in a while, I was looking to ChatGPT about how sustainable carnivore is, and I think only 2 billion people could do it. And so I think for governments, they want to feed their citizens with a cheaper way to feed them and a one that's expandable. And I don't think carnivore quite expands the scale to 10 billion, which we'll probably have within the next century. And so that's one thing I wonder about what's going to happen, or if is it going to be a thing where there's two classes of people? We have the carnivore people that know the truth, and we have optimal health, and our lineage has living to 120, 130 years with no health problems, and then the rest of the population living to 70 with health problems starting at age 5. And it was going to be like that, and they're still not going to believe us because of the propaganda or because of cultural traditions. They want to continue their way of eating, traditional way of eating, or if the government's going to stop us from eating fatty meat, or if we're going to decide as a society, okay, we're just not going to have kids. We can't sustain it, so we're going to decide not to have kids to have our population go down, or if the government would sterilize people. I really wonder about the future.
That's a good outlook. Well, I was actually going to ask you the next question regarding that. I guess I'll just extend it. Like, regarding your outlook. So, I mean, what do you think about it? Like positive and negative. I think you already mentioned like political aspect, and also you were trying to see if you can lower the prices. Maybe do you think some negative beef prices going up, and then maybe we'll see some censorship. People don't want government, or maybe the big pharma doesn't want us talking about it, or some falsifying information. At the same time, a lot of people are getting good results. More people joining the community, wanting to learn more, or is it like a combination of both? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's everything. There's not too much censorship because people are brainwashed enough that they don't really have to do it. People have mentioned going on Reddit communities and talking about how they cured their ADHD or their MS or gout, and people, mocking them. Oh no, you didn't, liar! Diabetes is a lifelong disorder, or schizophrenia is a lifelong disorder. It can't be cured, and so people are so brainwashed. They don't really need to do it, but they do put out their own propaganda. Just today, Lane Norton put out another video anti-carnivore. And I think the propaganda is going to increase, but I do think censorship will come. When our voice is loud enough, it will come because of all of the interest in, dining, going out, processed foods, hospitals, pharmaceuticals, agriculture. I think the majority of our economy, or at least a large plurality, is based off these carbs. And if people don't have any carbs at all, it would completely wreck the economy. And as well as the sustainability issue I mentioned earlier. So I think censorship is going to happen eventually. The more people who eat meat, that will raise prices, so meat will go up. But I would say, fortunately for us who already started the diet, it's not going to go up too drastically because people are still brainwashed. And so it's good for us because prices will still be lower, and means we can help out our friends and family members, not the whole world. But I really wish it would be the whole world who was eating healthily, doing things more sustainable. If they're eating vegetables, it was fermented vegetables, and we would be growing more healthy animals so that people could sustain themselves on an animal-based diet.
That's great insight. Yeah, I pretty much agree with everything you said, because it's a mix of both, good and bad things, and I think that's very realistic. Um, Jonathan, knowing what you know now about carnivore and nutrition, how everything is pretty much like upside down. If somebody comes up to you like asking for advice, I see that you have like success, with carnivore, and they want to try it. They're curious. What would you tell them?
Yeah, so I always tell people four things. So first is to transition slowly, and why. I say over a course of 8 weeks to slowly eliminate carbs and fruit and vegetables. And if they want to, they can go cold turkey, but what will happen? And then I tell people the three negatives of carnivore. So the first one is socially it's hard. Going out, you can't eat too much because it's cooked in seed oils and it's all carbs. Here in Indonesia, I can go to barbecue restaurants, cost around $6 for all you can eat. So that's good. I just, I put some fatty meat on the skillet and cook that. But I can cook that at home for, half the price. Save the exact meal. But that's very hard socially. And also you're kind of judged as well. Some people get mad. Hey, you think you're better than me because you're not eating cookies. Like, no, I don't think I'm better. I just want to be healthy. Two is you can't really like go back. Like once you're healthy, you might want to like cheat, and you can, but you don't want to. Slash, you kind of get punished by your body. Your body might have been used to, for example, for me, used to spicy food, but now I really can't handle it if I don't prepare properly and have spicy food with literally a stick of butter. Um, and so, things before that you didn't know caused an issue, you found out do cause an issue. And so, your favorite fruit or vegetable now causes a health issue to come back. And so you can't really go back, right? And if you do, you kind of like mentally, that's hard on you because like, you can feel better. And so you kind of feel bad about yourself. You're like, oh, I could get rid of my back pain or skin issue or depression if I just, ate properly, but I'm not doing that. So that's the kind of it's hard on you mentally in that aspect. And the third thing is you can't convince other people to do the diet. That's probably the hardest thing because you see friends and family members that have sick kids or they're sick themselves and you want to help them, they won't do it. I had two friends that told about the diet and they talked about doing it. I don't think they're quite there yet. And if they were, they would have already called me and said, oh my God, my son can walk again or something. One of the kids, he seems to be maybe autistic, but they said he has a heart issue, but he can't quite stand up on his own. Almost, he can kind of, if he has a chair, he can kind of use a chair to help him go up, but he can get up by himself like 90%. And I really think because he's quite close, if he does carnivore for a while, maybe he could actually walk, and he might become verbal. I'm not sure, but I'm sure he will improve to a certain extent. And my other friend has a kid who suffers from seizures, right? And they've gotten a lot lower now that he's gotten older. And I wonder how much he would improve because looking through Reddit and YouTube, I've seen for carnivore is they've all mentioned the seizures becoming less frequent to, anywhere from once every month to once every 3 months to once a year or not at all. So just less frequency I've seen. And because I haven't heard back from my friends yet, I don't think they've, quite done the diet yet because they've already would have said, hey, my son has more energy and now he can do this or that. And so I'm pretty sure they haven't started yet. But at least it's in their heads. At least they know about it. And I've encouraged them to do their own research. So, yeah.
That's great advice. I mean, I'm glad you're encouraging, more people to try it. Yeah, that's awesome. Jonathan, if people want to connect with you, where's the best place to reach you?
Yeah, so any form of social media or my email. I'm assuming you can link those. I can email those to you. So Instagram, Facebook, WeChat, VK if you're from Russia, email. Yeah, any of those would work.
That's excellent. I'm going to make sure once you send it to me, I'll make sure to post all of them in the description. Jonathan, thank you again for joining me. I really enjoyed listening to your story and your experiences. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you too. Take care.